Hi, I'm Sammy Dinneen. I started at Circus Space in 2007 and graduated in 2010. After I graduated, I went straight to Ukraine to train at the Kiev Circus School there because I wanted to experience what it was like to train with the best hand balancers in the world. I was there for 8 weeks and I came back to audition for the Batman Live World Arena Tour. I was very lucky and got straight into that, and I then toured that, mostly Europe but also South America for a whole year, doing acrobatics, handstands, fighting, choreography stuff. It was an intense show, 14 shows a week for one whole year. While I was doing that, I also then auditioned. When I was in certain countries, I would audition for any auditions that were going, and I auditioned for the Seven Fingers Company. I left the Batman show like a month before the end of my contract to go and do Traces by Seven Fingers, which was my dream job. It was the show that I watched that made me want to do circus. So I left and trained in Montreal at the Montreal Circus School and the Seven Fingers headquarters, and spent months there learning their show. So I learned how to do Chinese pole, Chinese hoop diving, teeterboard, skateboarding, which is horrific, 8 songs on piano, obviously handstands, all the other choreography in the show, and then I toured Canada and America doing that. After that, I came back to London. So I did that for just under a year. And then I came back to London and I did lots of corporate events in London, cabarets. I then performed in Ibiza, at Ushuaia, and places like that. So lots more singular one-off jobs rather than an actual tour. I'd done 2 years of touring. I was quite tired of living in a hotel and I wanted to live at home a little bit, cook my own food. So Pippin is a musical that was on Broadway, and I entered their tour of America and Japan. And in Pippin, again, I had to do hoop diving, Chinese pole, a duo handstand act, and I had to learn how to play the accordion. Another one of these things that's not easy. I came back to London and I've been working the London cabaret scene and creating my own shows with my friends. Prior to coming to the circus school, I didn't really know that much about performing. I was a self-taught breakdancer, so I had some sort of performing skills, but really like getting out into the real world and actually performing, I knew nothing about. How to make myself diverse, how to learn choreography, how to quickly learn Chinese pole or piano, or to have the mental capability to be able to put yourself through that. That's what the circus school taught me. Having multiple classes, so we would have handstands, acrobatics, trampolining, aerial conditioning, flexibility. You're always having to learn and change and adapt in everything you're doing. And the reason I have been so successful is because of how diverse that I am, because I can pick up choreography, because I can go and do hoop diving, I can go and do Chinese pole. Like, I'm not great at Chinese pole, but if someone is injured, I can jump in and do it. They're not going to hire me as a Chinese pole artist, but they'll hire me as a backup or as a generalist with my speciality. So Circus Space taught me all of those skills within the circus world to be able to actually be sellable. So every time I come back to London, I will come and train at NCCA to see my old teachers, to see students, to train with them, to see how the circus world is changing, to push my own training ability. And also every time I come back to London, I will also teach here. When I tour around the world, I will train with as many people as possible. I would be taught by as many handstand teachers as possible, so I can get as much knowledge as I can and then bring it back to here and be like, so I found this new way of doing this, or this teacher out here is trying this, so why don't we try that here? So every time I come back to London, I always come back to this school, because this school is what got me to where I am, and I want to feed back as much as I can to here. So every time I'm back here, I will always come back to the school. My best advice would be to work hard. You're going to have bad days, it's going to be hard work, you're going to cry, you're going to be in pain, but it will all be worth it. Just work hard every single day, because tomorrow is a different day, and then after the 3 years, you're going to go out and you're going to start performing, you're going to start enjoying it, and then when you look back, you'll know that it was all worth it. So my best advice would be to make yourself as diverse as possible. Create an act for yourself, but also create an act that you know will sell. So I have multiple acts. I have an act for competitions, I have an act for cabaret, I have an act that's contemporary, I have an act that's corporate, so that when someone comes to me and says, can you do this, the event, or can you do this show, I'm like, yes, I have this act that works for that. Don't just stick at one thing. Having one amazing thing is good, but also you want to work for as long as possible, so you need as many different styles to get you through.